All right, how's everyone doing today? We have a very special treat for everyone. Today we have the Brothers Chatham on the show. Give it up for the Brothers Chatham. They are this light bulb right here. Okay, the Brothers Chatham are animators that are great friends of mine at USC. Phenomenal artists, great people, love them, and we are very honored to have them on the show today. And we are going to be talking about their experiences doing real-time animation. So we will get started right now. Twins, how are you doing today?
Great, thank you for having us today, Coby.
Yes, I'm doing good.
So unfortunately, they are just a single light bulb.
Yeah, we possess one body.
Yeah. All right. So twins, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Coby. It's a pleasure to be inside your brain.
Yes, the brain looks really good. I'm
So-
satisfied with the light bulb, yeah, but I like the brain.
We've always wanted to have the twins on this show, and we have finally gotten the tech necessary to do it. So we are very honored to have these guys here today. So we will get started with our first question. So, twins, tell us about yourselves.
Well, we're both filmmakers and artists, and we love animation in terms of just creating surreal stories and
Yeah, pretty much everything else. I mean, you know, game engines to utilize stuff, which is great. It's like a lot of different things to experiment with. So, yeah, like this one, for example, this is really, really neat. Like, I heard that Unreal has something very similar to this, but I haven't tested it out. But this one's really good.
That's perfect.
incredible.
So that actually gets us to the main thing we're going to talk about today is basically we just finished our P1 and the twins did it using Unreal Engine and they also helped me a lot on mine, which was Ron Roach.
Whoa!
We got Ron Roach on the drums. So he's
Really?
doing the drums right now. Anyways, all right, we're back. So the twins helped out a lot with that. So the twins basically got a lot of experience using both Unreal and Unity. So I guess that's kind of the big thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about was what are some of the differences that you found in working on Unreal and Unity? And I should also mention that their kind of specialties, among other things, are production design and lighting. For Ron Roach,
That's right.
for Ron Roach, Parker was in charge of lighting, and Jarrod was, along with Marlena, was in charge of production design. So I guess just take us through your experiences using both Unity and Unreal Engine for these purposes.
Okay, so I think the file management in Unity is really efficient, in my opinion, because all the scenes are built there and it's easy to do shots in Unity. In Unreal, it's a lot harder. So, as in my kind of job as lighter, it's really easy in Unity just to bring all my lights together, light each shot as best as I can.
And it's a stable software compared to, Unreal crashes a lot because
A
it
lot
does
less
have a lot
crashes.
more information. But, Unity, what's so great about it, it is more geared toward, creating, interfaces and like programming. So that's why Unity is it's a lot stable. It's a lot stronger as it's built to handle information all at once. So, and me for production design, it was great because I was able to add in assets without worrying about, oh, it's going to crash or it's going to freeze. I'm going to lose everything. Because Unity, what it does is that once you import an asset, It creates its own name, and it groups it up to its system, so it doesn't, you don't lose it when it crashes or anything like that. For Unreal, on the other hand, you have to make sure you save everything, or else you lose those links, and that's what makes it
You gotta
tough.
start from scratch. Yeah.
I don't want to tell this to you, Coby, because I know how you feel about Unreal, but there are some things about Unreal that, that what we found out to be a little distressing in terms of doing animation production.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the big debate. I was the pro Unity, while pro Unity, while the twins were very much Unreal fans. So, what are some reasons why you have the opinion that you have about this, about Unreal?
Well, I think one of the major aspects of why I love Unity, or why I love Unreal, is that Unreal is built with the language for filmmakers. So especially its camera systems, especially its lighting, you have a lot of that language. Like, I know you have more specific information about the
I can talk a
cameras.
little bit more about like how things is Unreal. And Unreal is amazing.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about animation production between Unreal and Unity, I often find that Unreal is really, really suited for lighting control and cinematography. There's a lot of camera settings in Unreal and a choice of lenses that actually I find to be more realistic in real world compared to ones I find in Unity. I think it also comes down to the capabilities of lighting too. If you're talking about realism, I often find in Unreal, like the lighting is a lot more realistic, and there's a way to convert from light baking, which is where you just bake your lights like a cake, into the scene, and ray tracing, where you actually have a traditional offline render quality for ray tracing being pressured or pushed into a real-time kind of speed.
And that's how, like, most games
Interesting.
don't use ray tracing, because ray tracing it demands a lot of energy and computing power. But for most games, it's light maps, and for Unreal, the way they bake their shadows and the light, everything is very, very, very fluid, very realistic. And I find in Unity that it kind of suffers from that, because I only used it for like a couple projects, but when I use the engine, it's a lot harder to see where everything's tied together. Like, oh, like the lights, when I pick one of the the point lights or spotlights, it did lack enough information, enough like details that we can control. This is in Unreal, where they have a lot of specified controls. For example, like attenuation radius, but also the light bounces and like ray
I think
tracing
it's
and
also
all that.
about, if we're talking about like some really technical stuff, like light profiles and how the light has a
Oh yeah,
light has
profiles.
the light has
Yeah.
a character to it. It throws that light.
Like if you see a lamp, you'll see how it makes this distinctive shape on the wall, and for Unreal, it actually creates these images. It actually shapes the light according to that shape, which is really, really cool, because it's giving that more of that realism. Because usually when a light in the scene, it'll just give off a really generic radius of light. This light,
Nice.
very, really broad, simple shadows.
It's just kind of like game lighting.
And I'm curious, Coby, like what makes you so hesitant to try out Unreal? Like, is it too much for you? Like,
Put them on the spot.
yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, because
All right.
this is Coby's brain. We need to examine the insecurities and some of the problems. Maybe like you're afraid of using this engine. Yeah, I'm willing to hear it, Coby.
So, something I should mention to the audience is that me and the twins this semester are going to be working on one of our friends' thesis projects using Unreal. So it's really going to be my introduction to Unreal. I am not unwilling to learn Unreal by any means. I just haven't yet. It's a little intimidating. It's an intimidating package, and part of me wants to stick to what's comfortable with Unity. But especially after seeing Unreal's latest product launch for Unreal Engine 5, I'm pretty excited to test it out and get to know the software a little bit. And so I'm excited to learn from the twins about how to do it. Which actually brings me to my next question. So Ron Roach was your first experience using Unity.
Yes.
You were really gung-ho on Unreal prior to that, and I don't know, do you still feel that way after getting to use Unity in Ron Roach?
There's some very admirable qualities about Unity. It's the quality. I think it's because I'm also very I really like 90s freeware games, the independent ones, and they're horror, the ones I like, and they're all made in Unity, so they have this quality to it. So as an artist, I'm reminded of that. So yeah, when I was working on Ron Roach, I was like, yes, this is a treat to work with an engine that has made games that as an artist, I really like artistically.
Yeah, and I think like for that project, it was tough because it was like learning more specifics of the engine, like how it's being implemented.
So yeah, we're in your kind of shoes, Coby. We're learning something new, and it was great that we were able to experiment, see how there's like these differences, but also similarities between the two engines.
And like I really liked how for Unity, like it's the coding side of it for Unity, which is great. Like I'm trying to learn the similar kind of thing for Unreal, because it has its own like blueprint and all that, which is like frustrating because
though, which is a little challenging.
Exactly, the C++. I don't even know. Yes, it was.
C# is a little.
It was called
easy.
that, and I was trying to. Oh my gosh, I have to expand my brain. Like,
I think we're talking about the experiences we had on Ron Roach.
Yes.
So,
I'm curious, Coby, because are you going to do this for your P2? Like, you going to do another project in Unity? Because you said you're going to do a live performance piece, which is interesting. Kind of like this.
Yeah, so what's really, like, me personally, I've been getting really into the live animation, the fact that, like, this is a pretty powerful, what we can do is remotely have, like, a conversation live in an animated medium. But the thing is, you can also do this with Unreal. In fact, Unreal's companion app actually makes this really easy. So, it's really a matter of...
Yeah.
It's interesting, both engines are so powerful and have so much to offer. I just happen to know Unity better right now. Maybe that'll change in the future, but when I'm working with the twins in the future, they're probably going to be wanting to use Unreal as much as possible, and I think that's great because Unreal really does look incredible. And so I guess that brings me to my question. So is that what are you guys going to continue? So basically the twins last semester, P1, was a beautiful project in Unreal. So do you plan on expanding upon your knowledge of Unreal and doing something similar for your P2?
Yes, for our next production film, we're wanting to dive deeper into Unreal's capabilities of importing animation, particularly advanced character animation in manga, and bringing that into Unreal.
What we did last time is that we did Olympic import, which is basically
It was created in 2006. I think it has remained in the experimental
Yeah.
stage of importing it into Unreal, so it's not that.
And Olympic is basically taking a picture of a 3D model frame by frame. So it's like that you can see how tedious that is and how taxing the rendering process is for that. And Unreal can handle it, but
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
there was a shot in our P1 production where we had 40 pillows in one shot and they all had Olympics. So you can imagine like how much lag there was, and computer was gonna catch on fire because it was going crazy in terms of loading that scene and rendering it.
yeah, it was all ray traced, so it's like lights are actively bouncing around.
Yeah.
Like it's not like light maps where you can bake it and it just stays there for ray tracing. Like all the shadows are dynamic, so it's basically being a real world,
Wow.
which is why it's so tedious in terms.
And I think as storytellers, as animators, we really want to push a different side of animation. We want to try out like a more cartoony, less how do you say it?
Oh, like game movies or game
Yes,
shorts. They're
so
all real.
We'll be
realistic.
animating it by hand again, by hand instead of using motion capture.
Wow.
So we really want to have that kind of cartoony pushed animation, have it very smooth and very polished.
Well,
Yeah, which is great.
Although there's this.
I'm excited
Go
to see
ahead.
how this turns out. Keep an eye open for that project right there. I think we're all pretty excited for that.
Yeah, I was like, what if maybe for your live performance, Coby, like if you wanted to try a hand at Unreal, you can make it really, really cinematic. You can have like
Yeah.
shots in, you can have like you can have a whole brain room where you see. I was thinking like, oh, what if we could see like all Kobe's childhood memories like in this cavern? It would be so beautiful. It would be so beautiful because the light would be so realistic and everything. It would be like a theme park,
Oh yeah, a
Your trip.
to see Kobe's brain and all his
Yeah.
memories.
That could be fun. Put it in VR or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
But
you have
see,
like
for-
so much. You have so much material.
For me though, there's just I don't necessarily at this point see the advantage. I have this all set up in Unity, and it was not super easy. Not super easy at all. I don't think I could set this up in Unreal, or if I did, it would be extremely difficult. But hopefully, in time, this will be an easy thing to do using both Unreal and Unity. The next thing I want to ask the twins about is the Unreal 5 demo that came out recently. Kind of talk
Yeah.
about the fact that like super high poly models, no need to limit the the poly count of 3D models, as well as a bunch of other incredible features. I just wanted to get the twins' perspective on how this is going to change animated content.
So I think for a question like for animating or for like animated movies, it'll be really interesting because like not all, I know for our school, Unreal Engine and Unity hasn't been used a lot for rendering software, just rendering for animation.
Yeah, it's pretty
I know.
novel.
It's like I try to find like other department in gaming, but the problem is for gaming is that they're geared toward actually creating games. So there's no transition, there's no hybrid of like animation and games, so you can have that bridge together.
Yes, and to answer your question, I think there'll be like a giant like quality, like a surge of quality difference in terms of how realistic the backgrounds are, and
Yeah.
even textures for the characters themselves. If we're able to bring in like scans into Unreal without the problem of high poly count, then what stops from stop motion puppets being
Yeah.
brought in
We were thinking of like 3D scanning stop motion puppets and rigging them.
in Mixamo
So,
or something
in
like
like
that.
Mixamo or like other rigs that we know, and you can make it really
Awesome.
it'd be
Yes.
very immersive. It'd be like very realistic too. Just
The textures will all be there because it's been scanned at such a high quality resolution. And we kind of used it of mega scans in our first production. And there's a huge difference between a mega scan and a modeled object with UVs and artificially created textures on it.
mm-hmm.
So
It's like
the
mega-
mega scan is
yeah.
definitely way more realistic. It looks more natural and it reacts to light very differently. It takes more work to model an object and texture it and do all those things to make it look as good as a mega scan.
Yeah, I think like we're kind of like going for an aesthetic that has like very realistic backgrounds and with cartoony characters. This is like the aesthetic that Pixar and Illumination, they all have that same sort of like they make it a little bit cartoony in the backgrounds, but ultimately the rendering of the light reflected on the materials and everything is very, very realistic. And even hair simulations, all that is very, very detailed.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating. It'll be like an increasing like blur between animation and film because you're taking
Yeah.
film assets essentially from the world and bringing it into animation. Like
It's
You're gonna
be
have, like-
pretty incredible.
yeah, like
I-
even that game they showed in that trailer, they were like, oh, you have high quality movie assets being put in, so you're actually like playing a movie. You're playing a game that's a movie.
Yeah.
Totally. I think.
And like, you know-
Oh, sorry.
No. I was going to mention about, Mandalorian, how they did, ray tracing the environments and all of that, which is really, really sophisticated. But that's what it is. It's making it pushing the level of realism and applying that for animated content. That'd be really cool.
Impressive.
Be so cool. Yeah, I mean, I think personally, I see it as really gonna change the game for filmmaking in general. Like, it makes so much sense to be doing so many different types of live action shooting using virtual production with Unreal Engine at this point. I think Unreal is gonna be incredible for virtual production of live features.
Right, mixed reality filmmaking is it's a huge thing. It's growing. It's getting better every day.
So as experts in Unreal, which I honestly would consider you to, considering what you've made, do you ever see yourself going into this, exploring the other like live action capabilities of Unreal Engine, or focusing more on animation?
I think Jared and I have various interests in animation and film, and we're very interested in film production because
Yeah, we want to blend. Yeah, we want to find a blend of both, combine both, live action and animation together, because there's a sense of wonder in it when you do combine it very, very well.
And there comes to that point when you're asking, oh, what kind of medium is that I'm watching? Like,
Yeah.
we like that. We like the kind of
Because
blend.
there's always that trope that animation is a genre, so it's only catered to kids, and then there's like a whole different opposite side of it that's only catered for adults. And that's great. That's giving more diversity to animation. But the problem is, it's not bringing animation's not becoming big enough and be able to step into film as easily.
Yeah, like it's quite interesting. Like, there's a lot of people that say, like, you have to, when you're telling an animated story, you have to tell it so that it has to be animated. It can't be told in any other way.
That's
So,
why animals.
I'm-
That's why there's animals.
I'm wondering.
That's why.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that because if you look at like just one example that comes to mind is like Satoshi Kon's work. his 2D animated films are very much, if you had like a high budget visual effects, you'll be able to achieve the kind of same world, but it's that choice in making it animated that, and the design of it that really shows through it. So I don't really think the story, I don't think animation has to be confined to what's animation good, like what's good for. It
Well,
can
it has to be
it can
yeah.
tell live action stories as well. I mean, what other examples can I think of?
But yeah.
Twins, I got one final question for you guys. One final question. Twins,
Yes.
what is the future? Tell us about the future of animation.
Oh my! Why are you giving me this ultimatum or question? That's so big.
Kobe, live action will become animation.
Yes, yes. There'll be a time when live action become animation.
I agree.
mean, it'll be like it'll be a total blend, and like it'll be so interesting because like animation will be more and more of a like,
And then
it'll be integrated very well with.
And then there'll be a time when, purely live action and purely animation films are art house. Like that's
Yeah, it'd be art house. They'll be like, oh, we don't need, they're indie now. They're indie.
and what's trending is a hybrid.
Yeah.
Total hybrid.
Total hybrid. It could even be like, it could be extended more into VR and all that. So that'll be really cool to see. But yeah, that would be the future of it. It would be like just total immersive.
I think at least a decade down the line if animated films, I would be really curious to see if animated films use more like megascans, like photogrammetry into the backgrounds, incorporating that more. I'm not sure if like The Good Dinosaur used that.
That's what it looked like.
Well, they did.
It was so lifelike, like the background. The background was so lifelike, so I'm curious if they utilize that technology.
That would be a good question.
Yeah,
Um,
that would be our prediction.
Twins, that
Yeah.
is excellent. Thank you for so much for coming on today. It was a pleasure. Can we give it up for the
Yes,
twins?
thank you for having us.
That is
I
our
was
show
back,
for
but,
today.
A light bulb.
Give it up for the twins one more time. We love these guys. Always a pleasure to have the twins on the show. And hopefully we'll have them back soon.
Gosh.
Thanks again. Thanks for watching.
Kobe.
And have
Thank you, Kobe.
Hey, thank you,
Coby.
twins. Thank you, twins. Have a good weekend, everyone.